what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And this morning we have another wonderful guest. As you can see, special needs mom of four dives head first into her online business, and she's got a story to tell. Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. Where are you calling in from?
Ohio,
What part of Ohio?
Dayton.
I was gonna guess Dayton. I
Yeah,
swear to God, I was gonna guess Dayton. I should have just said it. Like I would have been like a mind reader.
yeah. Nope, Dayton.
So, lovely. I also want to notice your sign in the back. I do not negotiate, so I'll be, you know, I got a tough negotiator here, or someone who says no negotiations. Is that a sign for your family? Is that a
It is.
sign to remind yourself of something?
Negotiate. We don't negotiate with fear. We don't negotiate with, we decide something, we stick to it. We don't negotiate. Mostly it was for food for the kitchen, but no, it's for everything.
Nice, nice. I like that. I like that. Yeah, it's definitely some non-negotiables if you're going to be successful as an entrepreneur.
100%.
You're probably learning. So tell us what led you here to Legendary Marketer. What were you looking to get out of this program?
Oh yeah. So it kind of found me. It was just one of those things where, you know, kind of a similar story with anybody else. You're in a situation and you're looking for um, ways to supplement your income. And, my husband was working a lot of overtime. Our house was in foreclosure. I have a special needs son who needed a service dog, all the things. And so, I was just sitting on my phone one day and saw another girl that was talking about Legendary and so I watched for a while and decided to check it out, and that's what led me here, and it's changed everything. So
Wow, wow. So almost by almost by kind of happenstance, but a little bit of but also there was some intention out to the universe, God, whatever you believe in, may have been answering some prayers, some intentions, even though you were just living your life and doing what you needed to do. So here you are, right? This thing come up on TikTok. I mean, you weren't really even looking,
I
right? Which
no, 100% that I believe this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's. I think there's a unique gift in being able to notice a gift even when you don't ask for it, right? Or when you're not like praying hard every day for it, but to be
Right.
like, wow, this is a moment. This is. Let me just take this all in and really make sure that if I ignore this, that this wasn't meant for me, that this wasn't the a solution. And I see that with a lot of human beings every day. We have things in front of us, and it's sometimes it's difficult to recognize that, wow, this is an opportunity, right? So how did you avoid skepticism? How did you not fall into negativity? I mean, which the internet is there's no shortage of that. How did you deal with your own skepticism of, will this work for me, etc.? And I would assume you still are, and that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, of course, in the beginning, especially when you really don't know much about a certain thing, like, and I didn't,
Yeah.
there was skepticism, but the more that I looked into it, the more that I sat back and I just watched, um, I knew that it was something that I at least wanted to try. I mean, because I felt like I had nothing to lose,
Hmm.
and so the only thing that I deal with now is more of like that imposter syndrome where it's like, oh, wow, I'm doing this. Oh, wait, I'm doing this. I'm doing this sort of thing. So
I like that.
the skepticism lasted a short time and then I just dove into it. And when I saw that it was working and the amount of knowledge that I gained from it and how I've used that in other areas of my life, um, it's just been amazing. So,
That's great. Is this your first try at entrepreneurship?
So I am a massage therapist and I own my own business for a long time. So
Okay.
it's my first time at anything like this for sure.
Okay. Okay. With that business, were you the only employee or did you have lots of employees?
Me.
So you were self-employed, so sort of like Robert Kiyosaki talks about in the cash flow quadrant, to
Yeah.
where you own a business, but you're still kind of trading time for money.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, which is sort of disappointing when you go out on your own and you're like, I'm going to start a business, but then you're like,
Yeah.
dang it. Now yeah, if I want to really grow this and scale this, I need either, as he says very simply, systems or people, right,
Hmm.
to help me to scale. And so now you've got basically systems, people helping you. So you're kind of using people in a way of gaining knowledge and information, and but you're duplicating yourself and multiplying yourself on videos and stuff like that with these systems on social media. Are you surprised at how quickly somebody can get, a business up and running in 2023 with the right knowledge and skills if they just take consistent action? I mean, a lot of people think that this business is expensive or hard. And as a business owner, that hard is driving around to people's, or them coming to you and you staying in the studio late at night, and your body's sore at the end of the day because you've been rubbing and trying to. I mean, that's hard. I also know hard construction work. I'm not trying to say this work isn't mentally hard, and it can be physically draining, but the comparison of the leverage that you get now sitting in your home working versus the massage business, what's that contrast like? How do you see hard work, and how do you define an expensive business now, or how has that been kind of how has that been, that thought of, really, that physical location, but how has that been shattered? The way that now you can use technology and some skills with a few low to no cost tools to have a business. Is that kind of like, I mean, has that been earth shattering for
Yeah.
you? Or, I mean, what's that been like?
It truly is. It's mind blowing. I had no idea the amount of success that was capable just by taking this this course, and the amount of, like I said, the amount of knowledge that I gained in such a short amount of time surpasses any class, college course, anything that I've ever done previously to this. Um, and so, and to be able to be in my own home and
Right.
make it what I want it to be, and to be able to make my own schedule. And yes, it is work, and you definitely have to put in the time 100%. But I'm in control of that, whereas I never had that to this extent before.
Yeah, and what's the value, just for some people who are sitting here listening, kind of on that maybe that fence at the beginning of, hey, is this really worth it? What's the value of being able to work from home and build a business? Not just be able to work from home from your company or whoever you work for, but now being able to work from home on your own business without having to leave. And what is the value of that? Do we undervalue that and focus too much on the commissions and the money in the beginning and let that get us frustrated, instead of focusing more on the value of, wow, I get to be home. Let me be more patient. Let me be persistent with this, because after all, I get to be at home doing this. Do we undervalue that?
I think so. Sometimes I think that um, being home, it is such a gift to be able to do this here, and to be able to, yes, a lot of people, I don't know. So for me, it's more like, um, sorry, life makes me nervous.
No, it's totally fine. Want me to restate the question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just, you said that struck me when you said kind of, I get to work from home. And I feel like so many times new people are so focused on a commission, or instead of thinking about the long term and the fact that you get to learn this business and do this business at home, right? And that's such a big deal. And we're so focused on, well, I haven't gotten a commission yet, or some of these kind of, these things that they will come, but we undervalue. I know I often do. I get complacent, undervalue the beauty of just being able to work from home, and how much is that worth? How much does that improve the quality of my life? Even if I don't get super uber rich,
Mm-hmm.
the ability for me to be able to work at home and make a living, I just feel like a lot of us tend to undervalue that. You know what I mean? And I just wonder, you said you had a special needs son, and I don't know if you have more children, but just I would imagine there's a lot of parents listening to this. And a lot of times, again, we can get focused on the commission. We can get focused on the, and lose touch of what you just said, which is the value of being able to do this from home. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. That
Yeah.
just struck me, that we undervalue that. And so, I don't know if there was really a question, but I just wonder if you could say more about that, the value of this, and how flexible it is for those of us with kids, or
Yeah.
those of us with special needs
Right.
kids, or those of us who want to travel.
Sure. Yeah, that I can tell you all about. I have 4 kids, and my oldest.
Oh my God, 4. Wow. I thought you just had the one. Okay, hello.
No, I have 4 kids. My oldest has autism. Um, and then I have a 3-year-old, and 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and my 2-year-old is 2 today.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Happy birthday to the 2-year-old.
yeah. So to be able to be home, it's not just being able to work from home. That's great, but in my situation, I'm not really able to work outside of the home, and that was always an issue because what are we going to do? How can I provide not just for the bills, but how can I provide the needs and the services that my son needs? And also be here for my other 3 small children.
Yeah.
So there is you can't put a price on that. It is everything to me, and the fact that I can now do that, it brings so much relief to just it brings so much relief to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, wow, that's an interesting use of words, relief versus like bringing so much excitement to me. It brings so much, you're like, oh, bring
Yeah.
so much relief. Just, and boy, that resonates, right? Because I mean, how many of us, whether we are in the same situation, which I'm not, and many of us are not, with 4 kids, one being a special needs kid, and in needing to be there,
Yeah.
that's really, um, that's really a unique situation. And yeah, the ability to have a little bit of relief. I read a little bit of your questionnaire, and you said that you set everything up in December. In January you started creating content and working in the business, right? Instead of just learning. I like how you said that. Like, I think there's a distinct difference, and there is a defining moment in which somebody goes from learning mode and kind of observing mode and kind of getting ready to get ready, to actually crossing that line, having taken some sort of action to where there
Mhm.
now is no turning back, right? You've made that first step, you've stepped over that line. What did that look like for you in January? Was that pressing post and putting something out there publicly?
It was, yeah. So like you said, in December I set everything up, and then January 1st, that was it. And so I've been doing this for 9 weeks, and like already my mind is blown. um so yeah, it hasn't really been that long.
Not at all.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. And so what was that? Did you use that like beginning of the year as like a launch pad, as like a New Year's resolution thing? I mean, we're now at February 28th. What I'm just trying to think of some of these folks, you know, starting over. Sometimes we get started, sometimes we start over.
Yeah.
Can you say more about what that was like? I mean, whether it was January 1st or whether it would have to be today. How did you mentally prepare for that?
Well, I mean, like I said, I just kind of fell into it. So it was Thanksgiving. I had posted my son's crowdfunding for his dog. We had been crowdfunding for a year.
Well, just to be clear, mentally prepared to then take action on January 1st.
Yeah. No, then that's where I'm going with that. So
Right.
like it started then. I knew that I had to do something. December was the month where I just learned everything. January 1st was just a day. It was just a day that we got back
Okay.
from vacation. I was
Okay.
home and it just happened to be January 1st. But
Okay.
but I knew that that was my okay, go. So
Now, was that the first day that you posted a video publicly? I mean, was that the kind of that was the move?
yeah, yeah.
What was it like to hit post that first time? Were you familiar with the camera? I mean, is this all new, like 100% to you?
I mean, this is pretty new. I mean, I'm not comfortable on camera, obviously. Like this
You look comfortable to me.
but
You look,
it's
you
good
look.
because this whole thing is such a growing experience and it's forcing me to do things that I would have never done. So
Yeah,
I'll
totally.
I'll, I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, you
Uh,
look great. Like as Kayla said yesterday on the show, don't let them see you sweat. Like never let your audience know that you don't know what you're doing. So I mean, not only you look great. You're doing you look perfect.
Thanks. So yeah, it was I I had made a few TikToks before of my kids, but no, I didn't know what I was doing. And that was the great thing about this is it just walked me through all of it. And it's been fun. It's been fun growing and learning how to do it. And I mean, if I can do it, anybody can do this. It's just the determination and saying, okay, this is what I'm choosing to do and just going for it.
I also noticed that you said that in kind of December, even with 4 kids, you lived with earbuds in while doing what you had to do around the house. You'd wake up at 4:30 in the morning. You'd stay up late nursing and learning.
Yeah.
Oh, nursing, is this you have babies as well? Well,
Yeah.
with small children, wherever there is time, I am still doing classes, listening to podcasts, book, anything I can keep moving forward. Talk about that commitment to learning. Talk about that like really digging in and actually going through the material versus just kind of buying it and then being like, okay, what now? Like there's a lot of people who will buy something, a course specifically, whether it's here at Legendary or wherever. But obviously I've seen this over the last 10 years, buy something and then kind of go into the Facebook group
Yeah.
or whatever and be like, where do I get started? And it's like, man, oh man, I would just I would it's like we got ants in our pants, It's like we're kids that just, we can't sit down at our desk.
I get it.
How, but I noticed you got earbuds in. You're moving, you're walking around. Talk to us a little bit about how you condense time that month of December. I
I,
really feel like you
I just had to. I was hungry for it. Like I said, I was determined. I was ready. And yes, I have kids. Yes, I'm chasing. I'm all over the place. But I also know the big picture, and so I was hungry for it, and I'm still combing through everything. I mean, I just go through everything all over again because there's just so much to learn and move forward from. So yeah, it was that's what it was. I would wake up early when my kids were still sleeping and I'm on the computer and I'm setting up my stuff and I'm doing dishes, we're folding clothes. I've got the, videos going in my ear and I'm watching when I can, and I did not let the busyness of my life be an excuse for me not to do it. So, it was the reason I had to do it.
can I ask you a question about just energy? How do you get enough rest now that you've added this other thing to your life, right? So you already were busy enough.
Mhm.
How do you stay rested enough in order to be able to, and how do you deal with being tired? I mean, this is just a question that I've never really asked, that I don't ask a whole lot of people, but it's like, how do you deal with just How do you deal with just the moderating your energy throughout the day and being able to, not getting burnt out? Like, is there just,
Yeah.
do you have a special focus on sleep? I mean, do you have are you just kind of going 100 miles an hour and you'll figure it out later? Like, I just wonder how somebody is as busy as you, who's taking as much on and even adding more to your plate, just stays rested and does self-care.
That's a great question. One, I mean, that's a great question for any mom, but I have an amazing husband and support system that anytime I need anything, I mean, I have to tell you, I have like the husband of all husbands. He comes in and he does anything that I need him to do to give me my space, so that I can have my space to be able to do things. And I'm so fortunate. Again, he's military, so he's also gone a lot. But
Somebody asked if you were in the military, so thank you and your family, your husband and your family, for your service.
yeah, thank you. So yeah, I have a great support system, but does a mom ever really, you know, I think we always need rest. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think about where I am now and where I was when I started. I was a bit younger than I am now,
yeah.
and I had different levels of energy then, and now I have to manage my energy,
Hmm.
more carefully,
Hmm.
and make sure that I just, it's amazing. Sometimes I'm feeling like the world's on top of me, but it's just that I got a bad night's sleep last night. And it's important, although it's difficult to notice in the moment that that's what it is. But it's important that I don't make big decisions about my business, big decisions about my life, but start getting into this kind of spiraling out into catastrophic thinking if something doesn't go right. But imagine something even going way wrong, like, oh my God, I lost a profile, a social media profile, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
How do you deal with these little road bumps that, they're not mountains, they're molehills, I would assume, but they can feel like mountains. How do you deal with these little pieces? And what has been something that's been, okay, hey, this is annoying or this is difficult? How are you dealing with little challenges as they pop up? And have you had anything that's been, hey, I overcame that, but didn't think that I was?
Yeah, I mean, there's been challenges, and um, but if there's something that I feel stuck on or something that I'm like, oh well, that didn't go as I expected, I just kind of pivot and I find, okay, so what's the next thing that I can do to fix it? Because I'm a fixer, so I just want to, like, what do I need to do? I don't necessarily freak out about it or anything. I just, okay, so that's happening. So what's next?
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's interesting that you said I'm a fixer, because a lot of times, and now we're being taught in society about some of these kind of tendencies. We're becoming more emotionally intelligent as a society because of social media. We're talking about these things. I bet your mother or her mother may not have even had the information or the language to be able to identify that she's a fixer. So it's kind of like, the more this generation, our generations now, have more information to be able to kind of identify, oh wow, I'm a fixer, gosh, I have codependent tendencies or whatever, kind of from the internet, really, and from just information being shared more, and it's less of a stigma around some of these things, so we talk about it more. But I tell you what, I have a lot of these things as well, which, gosh, being an addict, right? Recovering addict, being, a little bit manic, being, I've got all kinds of, I'm also a fixer and a people pleaser. And I've got all these specific roles in my family. But you know what? I learned through this business how to turn all these struggles into strengths.
Yes.
I took my fixing and I learned my people pleasing, and I learned a little bit more about it. But I also realized, wow, that gives me the tendency to really want to over deliver. and really want to be it helped me to be more in a teacher role, helped me be more in the role of being able to fix something, help people find solutions. Um, and so, there's also some of you may be thinking that your struggles, these things that maybe you've even been labeled as, diagnosed with. I don't know. I'm not here to get too far into everybody's, medical files and everything. But man, I have found how to turn my struggles into my strengths and my mess into my message through this business. I love how you said I'm a fixer. Do you see that as being now an asset in this business in ways? I mean, not that it's not always an asset. I mean, it can be, I know what that is like that
Yeah.
can be exhausting to be fixing everybody's stuff all the time. But man, it's really an asset in this business because you've got a solution oriented mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I struggle with a lot of those things that you said. I mean, like insecurities, people pleasing, all of those things. And I'm learning so much about myself in this process of, okay, um, I can do this or I can do that. And this really isn't a big deal. This we can, how do we manage that? And I'm learning a lot about myself in this process and turning those things that I thought were kind of weaknesses into strengths, and it is
Yeah.
serving me well. So,
You
or
know what, my friends, I'm going to tell you something. The thing that you're not allowed to talk about in a corporate interview will make you rich in a TikTok video. The things that you won't say or shouldn't say, for example, telling your story, me telling my story about being a recovering addict.
Mhm.
That would likely be something that every job recruiter would say, Dave, let's leave that one out. Let's leave that one out of the interview if you're going to go interview for that, right?
Yeah,
But that's the sort of story that's made me. I mean, that story specifically hasn't made me millions, but I mean, learning how to use those stories and tell those stories in a way that obviously doesn't leave me looking like some homeless junkie. I mean, I'm learning also how to communicate those stories in a hero script, like, hey, here's what it was like for me. There was a defining moment, and then here's what it's like now, and actually present it in a powerful way. I also um yeah, there's also been other ways that I've used my struggles and turn them into my strengths. What's this been like for your family to kind of see this? What do you think is going through their head, or what's come out of their mouth that, has been interesting, or that, you're excited to maybe show your children this different side of you? Talk to us a little bit about that family dynamic, and maybe something that's stuck out that's been either cool or that you can see is important for you to share maybe some of these skills in the future with your children, or at least know them.
yeah, it's been cool. I mean, my kids they're always here, so they watch me, and they're a part of it, and they think that it's cool. But one thing that I want them to know is that even when something scares you, if you want something, just go for it, and who you are is enough, and you can do things, and you can do big things. um my husband has been so encouraging, and he's complimented me so much, has told me often how proud he is of me and how much I'm growing and becoming more confident, and um taking taking charge. I mean, realize what you're capable of. You kind of step into that. And like I said, it's been 9 weeks, but already like I'm learning how to step into this new role and accept and receive that of myself.
Wow, that's really nice. That's really something. I want to go back to something you just said just for a moment, and then we'll let you go because I know that you've got and I want to be respectful of your time. Um, so you said when we realize our potential, we can step into that.
Hmm.
Um, Man, that's really something because, when I was starting out, I had no idea what my potential was. My head was full of everybody else's thoughts, ideas, opinions of me, and what the world was. I mean, my head was full of them,
Mhm.
right? And it had really taken me down a path that I didn't want to be in anymore, and I was probably going to be dead or in prison at some point. I mean, I was 24 years old when I got clean, and it's taken a lot of reprogramming
Yeah.
and also realizing my potential. And you're right. It's amazing to continue to step into it and see what you're capable of. I mean, I look around at what we're doing here at Legendary and go, whew, unbelievable. I mean, who is this? What's going on here? Oh, wait, let me step into this real quick. Let me step into this potential that I have. And I always also surprise myself by what I'm capable of. I always tend to underestimate myself. It's kind of a weird thing. I love how you mentioned that. Um, I want to let you go, and I want to tell you that it's you're so new, but it's so nice to talk to you and hear your story and have you share from such an early standpoint, 9 weeks into this, as you stated. You're not getting rich overnight. You're climbing the mountain one step at a time, and it's exactly how it's supposed to be done. And occasionally you'll take a big old giant step up that mountain, and maybe you might trip and just fall down the stair one or two, but you'll catch yourself and you'll keep going. And that's the way this is. What would you say to the brand new person this morning who was in that same place that you were back in November, and they were of 2022, and they were getting ready to, or December, and they were getting ready to make that decision? It's fallen in their lap. Maybe they, weren't particularly looking for it. What do you say to that person today, based on your experience over the last 9 weeks?
I would tell them not to let fear get in the way and to go for it and just dive in and go for it, because it'll change who they are, how they feel about themselves, and that in turn is going to bring them just a wealth all the way around. So, I mean, do not negotiate with fear.
Mm. Dang it. You heard the lady. So tell us your handle here before we let you go. Announce it to everybody who's listening. I want to make sure I have it right so we can send them to support you.
Yeah, so it's to rule and to thrive.
Okay, got it. To rule and to thrive. And that's TURULL underscore and underscore to underscore thrive. So
Correct.
each word has a space in between it with an underscore.
Yes.
Well, Nicole, you rocked it. You knocked it out of the park this morning. So thank you for your time, and we'll let you get back to your wonderful family. Okay. And keep up the wonderful work. Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Talk to you later. All right, my friends. There it is. Wow. I never cease to be to walk away from this show both amazed and inspired by what people are capable of. Um, it really is a great reminder for me, and hopefully for you too, to hear these stories and to remember that you have the same potential. You may not look the same, you may not sound the same, and that's what makes you beautiful and perfect, right? But man, you got some amazing potential hidden in there. And when you realize it, and as Nicole said, and you step into it, you and those around you, as Nicole pointed out, with her husband being probably pretty blown away. I mean, obviously complimenting, saying, hey, you're growing, but you'll also blow the people around you away as well. You'll totally blow the limitations that they may have placed on you out of the water as well. And your husband, your wife might not be purposefully placing limitations on you, but they do. Our parents do, our friends, everybody's got limits. And when you step into your potential, when you realize it, when you just kind of take a risk on yourself and say, okay, I'm going to step into that. I see it here. I see what I'm capable of. You will not only shatter your own limitations, but you will shatter everybody's limitations around you. And it's a really cool thing. And so congrats to Nicole. And my friends, thank you for being here and listening. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Wake Up Legendary, the show where we interview our actual students, for Christmas sakes. It's not a guru only conversation. As a matter of fact, no gurus allowed. only real people, only real conversations, only real stories. Get out of here. See you later. Peace.